As Aldrich struggled to rise, coughing blood, he saw that the battle was lost. The orcish horde had breached the inner bailey, and the remaining defenders were being overwhelmed. The shadow strikes moved like wraiths through the shadows, their blades finding the weak points in armor with unerring accuracy. Flame Reaver shamans called forth gouts of hellfire, incinerating scores of humans where they stood. High Priestess Alara made a final, desperate stand at the steps of the keep's inner sanctum. Her staff glowed with the combined might of all four primal gods as she called down lightning, summoned crushing waves of earth, and conjured walls of flame to hold back the tide of green flesh. But even her formidable powers were no match for the combined might of the 5 clans. A Shadow Strike assassin materialized behind her, his poisoned blade finding a gap in her defenses. As Alara fell, the last bastion of divine protection crumbled. With the last of his strength, Aldrich raised his hand to the sky. "Primal gods," he whispered, "forgive us. We have failed." Groknak strode forward, his massive form blotting out the sun. "Your gods are silent, human," he sneered. "But do not despair. Your death will herald a new age for my people. Be honored that your blood will water the seeds of our empire." The warhammer fell, and Paladin Commander Aldrich, last defender of Ironheart Keep, was no more. As the sun set on that blood-soaked day, Ironheart Keep burned. The orcish horde reveled in their victory, their savage cries echoing across the land. Atop the highest tower, Groknak the Younger planted his clan's banner, its crimson field adorned with a shattered skull. "Let all of Folkyr tremble," he roared to his assembled warriors. "For this is but the beginning. We are the children of fire and stone, born of violence and chaos. The world will burn, and from its ashes, we shall forge an empire that will last 10,000 years." The cheers of the orcish horde drowned out the lamentations of the defeated. In the dungeons below, the surviving humans huddled in terror, awaiting whatever cruel fate their new masters had in store. Zarthol of the Shadow Strikes approached Groknak, his lean form materializing from the lengthening shadows. "What of the prisoners, mighty Groknak?" he asked, his voice a sibilant whisper. The Skullcrusher chieftain's eyes gleamed with cruel amusement. "The strong will serve as slaves, to build our new fortresses and work our forges. The weak—" He paused, a savage grin spreading across his face. "The weak will feed the fires of our victory feast." As night fell, the orcs began their grisly celebrations. Great bonfires were lit, fed by the bodies of the fallen defenders. The air filled with the scent of roasting flesh and the screams of the tortured. Orcish shamans danced around the fires, calling upon the primal spirits to bless their victory and grant them the strength for further conquests. In the great hall of Ironheart Keep, now transformed into Groknak's throne room, the chieftains of the 5 clans gathered to plan their next move. Maps of Folkyr were spread out before them, marked with potential targets and estimated troop strengths. "The humans will rally," Throckgar of the Ironhides growled, his voice like grinding stone. "They will send armies to reclaim this place." Groknak nodded, his massive hand tracing a path across the map. "Let them come. We will turn Ironheart Keep into a fortress the likes of which this world has never seen. And when they break themselves against our walls, we will sweep down from the mountains like an avalanche, crushing all in our path." Morghala the Flame Reavers leaned forward, her eyes glowing with inner fire. "The volcanoes speak of great power hidden in the human lands," she hissed. "Ancient artifacts, relics of the primal gods themselves. If we could claim them—" Groknak's eyes narrowed. "Speak plainly, shaman. What do the volcanoes tell you?" Morghala's voice dropped to a whisper, her words barely audible over the distant sounds of celebration. "The heart of Terra, the breath of Aquilo, the flame of Ignis, and the seed of Silva. For artifacts of immense power, each imbued with the essence of a primal god. The humans have hidden them, scattered them across their lands. If we could unite them, we would have the power of the gods themselves," Groknak finished, his eyes gleaming with avarice. "With such power, nothing could stand in our way." Zarthol hissed in excitement. "My shadow strikes could infiltrate their cities, their temples. We could find these artifacts before the humans even realize we're looking for them." Groknak of the World Breakers slammed his fist on the table, causing the maps to jump. Bah! Why skulk in shadows when we can crush them outright? Let us march on their capital, raze it to the ground, and take what we want from the ashes. The room erupted into heated debate, each chieftain arguing for their preferred strategy. Groknak listened silently, his mind racing with possibilities. Finally, he raised his hand, and silence fell immediately. "We shall do both," he declared. "Zarthol, your shadow strikes will seek out these artifacts. But they will not go alone. Each clan will contribute warriors to this quest. Meanwhile, we will continue our conquest. Ironheart Keep is but the first step. We will push deeper into human lands, drawing their armies away from their precious relics." The other chieftains nodded in agreement, bloodlust and greed shining in their eyes. Groknak continued, his voice growing in intensity. "But we must move quickly. Even now, word of our victory spreads. The humans will be scrambling to defend their remaining strongholds." As if on cue, a young orc burst into the room, his chest heaving from exertion. "Mighty Groknak," he gasped. Riders approached from the east. Humans, bearing the banner of the Golden Sun. Groknak's lips curled into a savage grin. "Ah, the vaunted Sunguard. It seems the humans are quicker to respond than we anticipated. Good. Let them come. We will show them the futility of their resistance." The chieftain turned to his lieutenants. "Prepare for battle. Let us give these Sunguard warriors a proper orcish welcome." As the other chieftains hurried to muster their forces, Groknak strode to the keep's highest tower. From there, he could see the approaching human army, their golden banners catching the early morning light. They were impressive, he had to admit. Ranks upon ranks of gleaming armor and blessed weapons, led by paladins whose very presence seemed to make the air shimmer with divine energy. But Groknak felt no fear. He had faced the Sunguard before, and while they were formidable opponents, they were not invincible. And now, flush with victory and united under his leadership, the orcish horde was stronger than ever. The chieftain raised his warhammer high, feeling the dark energy crackling through it. "Come, champions of the light," he growled. "Come and meet your doom." As the Sunguard drew closer, the full might of the orcish horde assembled before the shattered gates of Ironheart Keep. The 5 clans stood united, their war cries shaking the very foundations of the earth. Groknak took his place at the forefront, flanked by his fellow chieftains. The human army halted just beyond arrow range. A single rider broke from their ranks, approaching under a flag of parley. As he drew closer, Groknak recognized him as Solarian, High Paladin of the Sunguard and one of the most renowned warriors in all of Folkyr. Solarian's voice rang out, clear and strong. "Orcish invaders! In the name of the primal gods and by the authority of the High King, I command you to lay down your arms and surrender. Do so, and you will be shown mercy. Refuse, and you will be destroyed utterly." A wave of laughter rippled through the orcish ranks. Groknak stepped forward, his massive form dwarfing the mounted paladin. "Mercy," he sneered. "We are the children of fire and stone, human. We do not need your mercy, nor do we offer it. This keep is ours by right of conquest, and soon, all of Folkyr will follow. Run back to your king and tell him this: the age of humanity is over. The time of the orc has come." With that, Groknak swung his warhammer and a mighty arc. Dark energy crackled along its length before erupting in a blast that sent Solarian flying from his saddle. The High Paladin crashed to the ground, his gleaming armor scorched and smoking. For a moment, silence reigned. Then, with a roar that shook the heavens, both armies surged forward. The battle for Ironheart Keep had begun anew, and with it, the war that would determine the fate of all Folkyr. As the two forces clashed, the very fabric of reality seemed to warp and strain. The primal gods, long silent, stirred in their celestial realms. Terra trembled, Aquilo howled, Ignis blazed, and Silva whispered. The fate of their creation hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of a knife. And in the heart of the maelstrom stood Groknak the Younger, warhammer raised high, his laughter rising above the din of battle. For in this moment of blood and fury, of fire and steel, he was truly alive. Win or lose, the name of Groknak would be etched into the annals of history, remembered for all time as the orc who dared to challenge the gods themselves. The battle raged on, a tempest of steel and sorcery that would reshape the world of Folkyr forever. But that, as they say, is a tale for another time.